Hi, this is Sergeant Beast Larson. Welcome to CO Life. Today's topic, inmate suicide. Attempted suicide and succeeded suicide. I remember through my career I've talked about several things. I come from the military. I'm retired from police. I've worked in a max security prison. I've worked in a county jail. So I've been around a lot of death. I've been at plane crash scenes, murder-suicides of old people, elderly people with notes, disease, drug overdoses, gunshots, stabbed herself, all kind of things. I've seen bad. But for a new officer in a prison, in a county jail, this may be shocking. This may be a very different situation for you. So I just want to talk a few minutes about this to kind of help to guide this. I remember right before leaving the prison, we had a big rash of hangings. And I'll talk about that here in a minute, but a couple of the officers was the first time they had seen anything like that. The inmate was actually deceased when they got there and got into the cell. And I talked to the 18-year-old officer, and that was very upset about it. And just trying to reassure him that this is normal for you to be upset. It's normal for you to be shocked. It's not normal to look at this and just not be affected. We're human beings. We're taught compassion and love. We're taught to treat others the way you would like to be treated yourself. Am I right? So I made it a point as a sergeant, was my job, to talk to him every day and talk through some different things that did not involve death and things that did involve death. Talk about the life of the inmate and what decisions they made through their course and, their criminal career. What brought them to that moment, to that day, to that decision. And just because I spent every working day, a few minutes here and there talking with him, reassuring him, he got through that. And getting through that, he understood a little bit, and he also understood that he did not have control over another human being's life that way. And he came to terms with it. He accepted it. And a part of that too, I told him, you need to pray. You need to pray and, to be able to accept and to let it go. That this was in hands, it's beyond him. And he recovered from this and did really well, and eventually he promoted to sergeant. So it's a duty for those of us with experience and with rank to help. I talk about this in different things. Getting rank it's not about extra stripe, little pins on the collar, and the paycheck. It goes a lot deeper than that. That's true commitment and caring and taking care of your officers. Let's talk a little bit about the attempted suicide. Now, there's been pictures on Facebook, several times they'll post a cell covered in blood. And that can be an inmate or two inmates, both of them do it. I've seen that, to cut. And they cut and they cut and they really cut. Some cut really deep. They know how and they're serious. And they'll bleed all over. But don't forget, they're going to mix water with this. Mix some drink or some juice with it. They'll thin it out. By thinning out the blood means it smears more. It covers the larger area. A smaller amount of blood will. So keep that in mind. What is their intention when you go in and find somebody or they're telling you they're going to cut? Hey, officer, I'm going to cut. Sarge, I'm cutting. And how many times do you hear officer or whatever say, good, I'll be back in 30 minutes to check on you. That's all I'm required. Well, is that the appropriate way to answer? Is that how we handle it? Should stop and, ask a question. Before you cut, what's the problem? Why do you need to do this? And talk a little bit. Once you've seen some dead people, you'll take it a little bit more serious when they say they're going to cut. What if they're standing on the toilet with a sheet wrapped around their neck off to the ceiling light, and the roommate's just sitting on the bed reading? Either they don't care or they know he's bluffing and not going to do it. Or they may want to get up and help him hang. And they may come up and encourage him and then grab his body weight to pull down. That way it's twice the weight and twice the asphyxiation, twice as fast. These things, they come in spurts. Inmates tend to have trends, and sometimes they're predictable, like things in the world are predictable. One of them does it and they recognize and see the attention they get. And what does that mean when they take a sheet and wrap it around their head and they sit on the bottom bunk and it's wrapped like this and they're leaning forward? Are they trying to get attention, or are they actually trying to die? I'll just say half the time, a little bit more. It's all about attention. And the attention they want is because they need to talk to counseling. Why? Last year we had an issue and a big rash of this, and it was all because of one thing. Somehow, somewhere in the counseling, they stopped a certain type of medicine, and there was like 120 inmates we had taking this medicine. Stop cold turkey. And when you're dealing with mental health medicines, mood stabilizers, that's not the kind of stuff you can just instantly stop. And by the second week, we had 120 guys ready to crawl up the wall and across the ceiling like a bad movie. And they couldn't help it. And we're dealing with them, and guys standing on the toilets with sheets around their neck, got shanks to their neck. They do all kind of crazy stuff. Handful of pills, all the above. Pills, a shank, and a sheet around their neck or whatever, their t-shirt. And they're like, help us. We don't have this medicine. I'm like, okay, take this stuff down. I know. I'm going straight there right now. And I went out and talked to him, and I said, look, I've got somebody every 30 minutes trying to kill herself because this medicine stopped. You will have 120 dead people on your hands in about 2 or 3 days if you don't get something to counteract what's going on. And it was for specific mental health illness. Why did they stop and not go? It just caught up in the system. Something with the medicine, recalled, it didn't get ordered, it got delayed, and then it wasn't followed up with, very quickly. The first report of it should have set off alarms that, hey, we've got 120 people that take this. Check your medical records. It's about to go bad. So sometimes something like this, it's out of the inmate's control. They can't help it. Sometimes they just want to get moved. They're checking out, want to get to a different place. I need protective custody. I'm a hang sarge. You don't get me PC. Want to move you to PC? You're going to tell me you're going to hang and want something else, aren't you? So it's a little bit of struggle. But what do they always talk about? Whether you're in a county jail or you're in a prison, bring it to a higher authority. Take the responsibility from yourself and put it on a supervisor. The next highest level, call the sergeant. If you're a sergeant, you call the lieutenant. You're not just passing off to walk away and say, I don't care. You're getting somebody else involved to make an informed decision. Maybe there's stuff about this inmate you don't know about, but your lieutenant has because he's been in briefing. Maybe he knows things from the captain, the deputy warden, whatever, the jailer. Maybe they know stuff. Supervisors don't always tell everything they know. That's why you inform your supervisor. You pass it on. Maybe there's special circumstances that they do need to get moved or something changed, or, an immediate phone call. Maybe it's something they're aware about. If you're not sure, just ask. I'd ask the warden, hey, are there things about this that we don't know? Just because I wanted him to say yes. And then he would say, yes, there's quite a bit going on. You know why I did that? I wanted him to say yes. And it's reassuring to me. And then I can go and tell the officers. I asked the warden about this, and he said, yeah, there's this stuff going on. It's something I've been working on for 2 weeks. See? It makes people feel better. What do you do when you find somebody that's cut? Get the other officer, supervisor, get a camera. That was our policy. Get a camera and document. Why? Could be evidence in a court if someone does pass away. It could be evidence if the roommate assaulted them, shanked them, but they're making it look like a suicide. You need to have a document. You need this to be on video. You're also recording who entered this crime scene or this scene. That's evidence. Who's in and who's out. What happened? What was said. It also covers yourself. Have that body camera, turn it on. The handheld, turn it on. Because then it records you saying, hey, inmate, why did you do this? What's going on? What did you take? Maybe he mumbles about what medicine it is, and you can pick that up later when you play it back. It covers your tracks. Covers you reduces liability that you did not do anything and you weren't there. You got to think liability. They're trying to get attention or commit suicide. You're thinking liability. That's what comes with experience. If we had first aid kits. If it's a little cut, they've got something. Tell them to put something on and put direct pressure on until you can get it looked at by medical. If it's really bad, maybe it's bad enough and they're passed out. That happens. Get another officer. You don't open that door and go in by yourself. Get another officer, your supervisor, cameras, and you go in. If they're hanging, the same thing. Yeah, it might be hard. It might be disturbing, to a very young person to look into the window. You're peeking through the window and here's a guy and he's hanging and he's going like this with the sheet, jumped off the toilet. But I got a unit manager friend that went in with 2 officers and the guy was faking hanging. He didn't have it tight and stabbed all 3 of them. Stabbed my buddy in the chest. They all lived. They're all okay. But it was an attempted assault. I've went in with the officer where the guy was sitting on the bottom bunk, sheet tied to the top bunk, leaning forward. He was trying to get his head to shake, that convulsing look. Well, we had the cameras on, which protected me because he said that I hit him. We went in. He swung at me. He's sitting there with this wrapped around his neck. I blocked that. We grabbed his arm, put him in a different position, and got it slipped up to his chin bone so that there was no direct pressure on the neck. Now the sheet's on the chin. Now here I can leave it here for a minute until we can handcuff him and get control, because the sheet right here or by the mouth, he can still breathe from his nose. So we didn't take away any breathing. We had this on camera. I can explain. Removed it from the throat area to the bone. Covering a bone does not stop somebody, hang somebody, or stop from breathing. We took care of control, got his hands, got him secure, and then slipped the rest off his head. Then we had a conversation about why and everything, and then, unit manager come and talk to him, figure out what was going on. There's danger for us, there's danger for them. Sometimes they do things where it's just at the wrong angle, and it can get really bad. They're pretending they're faking. They're ready right here, but they don't realize if they slip or they move 2 inches this way, that extra 2 inches, their body weight's going to get them. Here's another popular thing in the showers, and we had, he was a Muslim. He was 340 pounds. And he had a history about 2 years of just arguing, starting fights, tried to start a physical fight with a certain lieutenant. He just kept going on. And going around doing rounds one day, he was in the shower to take a shower. We were running showers. And go by, knock on the door, hey, we come, you're done? We come by, get you out. Don't hear anything. Look up in there in the shower, and it had the little diamond-shaped things. And all the time they put a little sheet or something in there and kind of push it through with a pencil. And that's just, for privacy. Well, we push the sheet back. We didn't get an answer. And look, well, the sheet didn't go through. It was actually knotted. So unlock the door, and he's got it tied off on the top. I mean, he's doing really good. He's changing colors. 340 pounds of body weight pulling down. You're going to succeed. So luckily for him, I have a background as a strongman and a power lifter. I go down, get in front of him, get in a position, get a bear hug, and go like this and lift him up so they can take this off his neck, the other officers, and got cameras right there. And I looked at him and I said something to him. His eyes were closed and back. I said something to him and kind of yelled at him to wake up. He got mad at me, I'm not going to tell you what I said, but I said something to him. And he, when he wakes up and looks and gets mad and everything, and why'd you say that? And I called him by his last name, and I said, look, I know what you're doing, and I know you don't want to die. I know it's about attention. I said, but you're also a very big influence to your people. You are the person that can lead and teach them the religion and teach. And I explained some things to him, and he said, nobody's ever told me that they had faith in me. I told him I have faith. I said, you've chose to be this way. You've chose to be Muslim. You're very knowledgeable about the laws and the rules and the principles, the facts, everything. You're knowledgeable. So why aren't you taking that knowledge? Why are you playing games with us, wanting to fight with us, playing this hunger strike stuff? All these things for attention is wasted energy. I said, you only got a couple years left and you get out. Why aren't you focusing on who you are and what you can do? And ever since we talked about it that day, yes, we went to medical and we had the mental health come talk to him a little bit. But after that, he was a total different person. Did I save him? No. I just flipped that light switch on in his brain. He opened his eyes to the reality of what he was doing and who he was. You know, we always try and make good out of bad, don't we? That's how we're taught. Make light, shed some light over the situation. Think about it. Yes, and then just because you're a CO or a sergeant lieutenant, just because you work in a jail or a prison, doesn't mean you walk through there like this, cuss at everybody, yell at everybody. We're not walking, this isn't a macho contest. You don't walk through the door and check in. You're not punching the thing like at the fair. You're not ringing the bell so you can hit the bell the loudest and the fastest. It's not about that. What is the job of a correction officer? Protect. Protect all staff, protect the inmates. Keep them inside the fence, keep them inside the walls. Fulfill the daily requirements set forth by laws and policies. Safe and secure. They have to eat. They have to have clean linen. They have to have things laundered, etc., etc. I'm not going through your policy book. But there's a lot of things that go there. You know, I have, and this is off topic, but twice I helped 2 inmates by getting them connected to the right folks at the library and the guys that push the book cart around. They learned how to read and read better. I mean, they were reading like 2nd, 3rd grade reading level. Couldn't help their kids with homework. Did I have to do that? The other officers would have said, you know, F you and walked by. No, that's not my job. I'm not here to teach you to read. But they asked me, Sarge, the one said, I'm getting out next year. My daughter is in the 3rd grade and I can't help her do her homework. Okay. Can I tell a chaplain in the library? Yes, I did that. They came down, they got easy books, learned to read, hooked on phonics kind of approach. He was on the 8th grade reading level minimum when he got out the next year. So proud of himself. He was a young gangbanger. All he cared about was destruction and death. Now he cares about reading and helping his kids do the homework. Take a moment to help somebody. Make a difference. You may see some shocking things. There may be some explosion. There may be some electrocution at the prison, at the jail. You know, these industrial accidents do happen. You may find somebody doing crazy stuff, jumping in the washer and dryer there. They're big, they're large, they're super large, low capacity. You might find a little inmate jumping in and trying to do harm to himself. Always be on the lookout and always look to think, why did this happen? What is he trying to do or accomplish? Starting to get some sun here in my eye. We are professionals, are we not? Whether you're in a county, you're at a prison, federal prison, police officer, sheriff, state patrol, we're professionals. We have a job to do. We do have a heart. We do have compassion. We do care about people. We drive and run fast and hard to try and save and protect lives, don't we? It's okay to be upset when you see this. It's okay to be a little bit disturbed. It's okay to have emotion. It's okay to have sorrow. Because the loss of a life is a loss to that family. It's a lot bigger than just that inmate, whether you like them or not. Whether they've been a pain to you or not. Whether they've thrown feces and urine or not. They're still a human being. It's all right to be upset. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be really, really disturbed by it. Talk to your supervisor. Talk to another officer. Talk to a senior officer if you need to. You know, there's folks there that's been there 15, 20 years plus that have been through this a few times or many times. They'll help you. Don't just take it and put it on the back shelf in your brain, because it'll fester. So I hope this just sheds a little bit of light. It's going to happen. You're going to see this. Just talk. The only bad question is the one you don't ask. If they're not around, I guarantee you, if you go to somebody high like the deputy warden or to the warden, hey, this is really bothering me. Can you give me 15 minutes and just talk? Just talk a little bit. You know, reassure me. They'll do it. They take pride in being able to help the officers like that. Hit the like button. Let's share this with everybody. We don't want our young folks being shocked and upset like this. We want them to be prepared. Let's train them and prepare them, and then let's be there for them. Thanks to Sergeant Beast Larson. Catch you in the next video.